Hello folks, this is Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Luxury Microfiber here in Dallas, Texas. I want to show you DPC Armor. It is a true silica sealant, verified at 10%. I want to show you the difference between, well, there's a lot of products out there that bead water. When we have tremendous water beading, we have what we call silicone inside of a product called xylazane. Silicone loves to bead water. When you truly have silica in the bottle, silica does something quite different. It sheets water. It also is highly chemical resistant. It likes to fight off chemicals. It also likes to sheet off water, highly chemical resistant. This stuff also increases shine gloss. It also helps with self-cleaning properties, meaning as you go forward after applying DPC Armor, it's a little bit easier to wash your car because the contaminants are going to come off a little bit easier versus products that just have silicone in them or polymer types of sealants. Folks, what I've done, let me show you what I've got down on the ground here before we even begin. You'll notice all these chemicals on the ground: Super Clean, Simple Green. I even have Gunk Engine Cleaner. I got a bottle of Dupli-Color Grease and Wax Remover. I got a bucket that has APC in it and just some water. Before I start this test, what I did was I stripped and stripped and stripped and stripped this panel till there's absolutely nothing on it. But I'm going to go one step further because I don't want anybody to say, Scott, I think there might have been something on the surface of the paint before you started. I also have two of my sucker towels that I'm going to use to dry off the panel and show you the beauty of DPC Armor. First thing I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to take aerosol Super Clean, which is a pH of 13, just so nobody says, hey, he has something on the car already. I'm working in direct sunlight. This panel is warm. I don't recommend you do this. I don't recommend you put DPC Armor on a hot panel, and I always recommend that you make sure you let it cure for 12 hours if you're using it at full strength. I'm going to throw all of that out the window. But let me go ahead and apply Super Clean at 13, a pH of 13, all over this paint. This way, nobody can say, Scott, I think you got something on that paint. What was on the paint before you started? Hey, I got no reason to lie to anybody at this point. I've worked very hard at making sure DPC Armor was an amazing sealant that actually did have silica in it. A lot of products that claim to have silica, if you look at the ingredients, they have lots of xylazane, and that's why they bead water the way they do. But that's not the true beauty of silica. So I'll let that go ahead and bake into the sun, right? That's a pH of 13. What do I want to do now? I want to take one of these crappy cotton towels. I don't recommend you do these. These are one of those shop towels. I'm going to rub the Super Clean into the paint. Make sure it's not just sitting there, but it's actually trying to eat away anything that might be on the panel, right? All I've done was washed and clayed this thing and hit it with a bunch of chemicals, but I want to make sure there's absolutely nothing on there, and you guys can see that I hit it with the chemical. Now let me rinse it off with water. Uh-oh, let me get this stuff out of the way so I don't get that wet. Hold on, guys, sorry. Very flat panel. Hold on, folks. Let me go ahead and get one of my sucker towels and dry off this water quickly, and then I'll apply the armor. Just bear with me. The paint is very, very grabby. Even though my sucker towel does a great job of absorbing water, there's a lot of water on this panel because it was flooded. And the paint is incredibly grabby. Come on, Scott. Let's go. This is the vast amount of testing I did with Armor before I put it into my arsenal. I wanted to make sure that, one, it absolutely had silicon dioxide in it, and doing all the research and understanding how silica responds differently than silicone products That was important to me. All right, Scott, what are you doing? Got some moisture around the edges of the panel. Make sure I get that off there. Let me put my sucker towel on my tractor, so this way everybody can see it. Nobody's spraying any SiO2 on it, because I'm going to be rinsing this panel off and drying it each time, and I'll explain why. Now what I'm going to do is take DPC Armor, mix it up, because it's at full strength. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to try to do this whole panel in one swoop. You'll notice when you put DPC Armor on the paint, it will drastically change the shine and gloss. Now this panel is very hot. I got to buff it off quickly. I don't want any streaks, and I'm doing this all wrong. I'm breaking all the rules. I'm also not going to let it cure. You'll notice from where I'm wiping it in, a huge difference in the shine and the gloss in the areas where I didn't get to it yet. On these panels I haven't treated. I want to thank Brian with Apex Detail, who showed on a gloss meter the beauty of Armor being able to increase shine and gloss. That's very important. If I'm going to go through these steps, or my clients are going to go through these steps, not only do I want them to have protection on the paint, I want them to increase shine and gloss. That's important. Okay, again, this is not the best way to do it because it wants to streak up on me on a very hot panel. This is black paint. In direct sunlight, it's about 75 degrees. Let me put a little bit more on there, since we're kind of giving Armor a disadvantage because we're not going to let it fully cure. All right, let me buff out. Even working with it on a very hot panel right now, it still is incredibly user-friendly versus some other SiO2 sealants. There's ones on the market that are so streaky, so difficult to deal with, you would never, ever want to apply it to a hot paint. But this one is not as difficult. Okay, it's on there. Let me put the bottle down. Let me discard the microfiber towel. And let's look at the water behavior. You'll notice it tends to sheet water and try to keep the panel dry after it sheets the water. See, it's not a water beater, but watch. Oh, my phone is ringing. Sorry, guys. You'll notice it wants to push the water off. The panel's 95% dry, just a little areas with some water. Let's hit it with some chemicals. Let me hit it with Super Clean. Again, I did not let this thing cure. Super Clean, a pH of 13, very aggressive cleaner. Aerosol form, which is going to allow it to kind of dwell and not drip off the panel. The panel was relatively dry, about 95% dry, because that's what silica does. Repel water at a different contact angle than a silicone-based product, and that's why it sheets water. It has high self-cleaning abilities and highly chemical resistant. That is a lot of Super Clean on that panel. Let it soak and bake in the sun. Going to be a little bit of a long video here, guys, but I'm going to show you the true test of a silica sealant that actually has silica in it. Not all the products do. Some of them say they have silica in them, but it's a low concentration, sometimes below 5%, sometimes 1 to 2%, but they're filled with silicone. Okay, that's been on there for a long time. Wow, my phone just keeps ringing. All right, what I'm going to do is take one of these shop towels again and rub it into the paint. I don't just want it to dwell, I want it to rub into the paint so we've got all that juicy goodness. As I do this, I can still feel that there's some slickness under these chemicals with Armor there, but it's, boy, is it beating it up. Has to be, right? This is a very harsh test, and we're not stopping here. We're going to do this several times. Now I want to show you the panel's gotten incredibly flat, but it's still, Armor's trying to fight off. What it's trying to fight off is the residue that's left over from the cleaner. Just simply rinsing it off doesn't get all the residue gone. So I'm going to take one of my sucker towels again and remove the residue off the paint by just simply using my twisted loop sucker and remove that residue. But you can see how it was trying to fight that chemical even before I dried off the paint, and as the residue was upon it. I'll just go in here. Now if I touch this paint with this microfiber towel, boy, I love you, Armor. You are still there. There is a tremendous amount of slickness underneath this towel. Let me put this over here by the tractor so nobody said, Scott, somebody behind you, behind the camera, spraying it with SiO2. Let's hit it with water and watch the water behavior. You remember how it looked when we first applied it? Watch this. It wants to sheet water at an incredibly fast rate. Right now it's 95% dry, 97% dry, 98% dry. We have not changed its water characteristics because that's how silica works. It wants to push off water and contaminants. Where's my super clean? We're not done yet. Let me get my bottle of super clean. What'd you do with it, Scott? Come on, wake up. Oh, behind the camera, guys, sorry. We'll do it again. We'll hit it with super clean. A lot of juicy goodness. If you prepare the surface properly before putting Armor on, wash your car, clay it, and then use a paint prep like Duplicolor grease and wax remover. You want to make sure the surface is absolutely virgin clean. You don't want anything else on the paint. Apply it at full strength, out of direct sunlight, and let it cure for 12 hours. You'll have a sealant that will blow your mind, but you've got to get over the fact that it doesn't bead water like a lot of protectants do on the market right now, because they're just filled with silicone. Silicone does not have the chemical resistancy of true silica. All right, that's sitting there. Let me take my nasty cotton towel, whatever this thing is, shop rag, rub it into the paint. I'll even leave it in there a little bit, get it all juicy, right? Get that stuff all over there. And now I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit, let it dwell a little bit more so it has a chance to, you know what? Let's increase the power here. I've got some simple green. I don't know what this stuff is at 10 to 1, a pH of 11, 11 and a half. Let's get some more on there. Why wait? Let's see how strong Armor is. You guys bored yet? I don't blame you. Could you imagine the amount of testing I had to do with this product before letting it go to the market? I have been doing this so long with this sealant. It is one of the most difficult sealants to remove. Again, the only reason why I know this to be true is that I can verify that it actually has silica in it. A lot of other products on the market that claim to be silica, they either have a really low concentration or it's not even listed as one of the ingredients, but silicone is awfully high in a lot of these products. Okay, let me take my little wet rag again, which has just super clean all over it. Let's rub it into the paint. And folks, as I do this, I can still feel the slickness of the paint. Armor is fighting. It's doing the best it can. This is a serious attack on this sealant. But we're gonna watch the beauty of silica. When you have a product that truly has silica on it or in it, it will help your coatings if you want to put it over a coating. It'll help protect your car from contaminants, make it easier to wash in the future because it actually has silica in it. Let me go ahead and rinse that off. As we do that, you'll see that Armor's trying very hard to fight through the residue. It's not sheet like it was before, but it's trying. But there's too much residue from the cleaner on the paint. What I got over there is some remnants of Reflect I've been doing like a grease and grime removal test on. Boy, Armor's trying. Again, the reason why the panel was so flat, we still have residue from the cleaner on there. Let me grab one of my sucker towels. Oh, you guys are going to kill me. Scott, why such a long video? But if you're interested in science and what silica can really do, this is going to be a cool video for you. Let me go over this panel. It's incredibly flat, right? Lots of water on the panel, so we got to get that residue off. I can feel armor below the paint. Oh, sweet Jesus. You are one strong sealant, my friend. Scott did not fall asleep at the wheel when he brought you in and put his name on the bottle. There was too much at stake. There we go. I've removed the residue from the cleaner. I'll hit it with water. Watch the panel sheet water at a fast rate. It is 95% dry, 97% dry, 98% dry. Folks, if you're working in direct sunlight, do you want a panel that dries itself, or do you want lots of water beading from silicone? And now you've got to dry the vehicle in direct sunlight on black paint. You want tiny little beads from your tap water, or do you want a dry panel? Folks, let's do it again. Super clean. Let's hit you one more time. I'll do this. I know where armor will break. It's around the 10th round of a fight like this. I'm not going to make you sit through 10 rounds. This is extremely, extremely difficult for any sealant to survive, even at this moment. How many times did we do this? 2 times with Super Clean, once with mixing Simple Green in it. You watched its sheeting behavior stay the same from its initial application. That's how we can tell it's still there. Its ability to, you know, keep the panel dry, keep contaminants off the paint. This is important. This is far more important than water beading. But water beading's sexy, right? Lots of people like to see it. They think there's something on the paint. There is. It's called silicone, but it's not giving you self-cleaning properties. It's not helping, you know, reduce water spots you may come into contact with from nasty tap water from sprinklers. If you get tap water from a sprinkler system with silica on the paint, yes, you'll see some water spots develop, right? But they'll be so far easier to remove when you wash the car versus a silicone-based product. Let's rinse this off. Drastically flat, but let's not stop. Let's hit it with Simple Green again and get some more goodness on here. I want to try to kill this sealant. We still have residue on the panel from Super Clean. I didn't dry it off. Let's keep the residue from Super Clean on here. Let's hit it with Simple Green this time and let it kind of dwell. This is one serious attack. Again, this product is a water sheeter, a repellent of grease and grime, which makes your car easier to clean in the future. It has self-cleaning properties that silicone products don't have. Scott, why do you keep talking? Because I love armor. I've worked too hard here, guys. Worked way too hard. I'll let it sit. I'll let it dwell. Oh, I'll rinse it off. That's not good enough for me. Let's hit it with some more Super Clean, and I'm going to rub it into the paint this time. Armor, you've got to go away at some point, right? People are going to be upset with you because you're very hard to remove. Let's go over here, and then let's rub it into the paint. My Super Clean can is starting to slip out of my hands because my hands are slick from water. Oh, and all this residue from grease. Take a towel again and rub it into the paint. Scott, at this point, nothing can survive. You can't survive. And maybe people are thinking, Scott, you're using a power washer. Can you flood the panel? I will. I'll show you that it continues to sheet water off. It wants to remove contaminants and keep the panel dry. Let me rinse this off. You'll watch, it's incredibly flat, but there's areas where Armor's still trying. It's saying, Scott, I'll try to get rid of that residue. I'm still here. Well, let me help you, because we got to get this residue off or people are going to turn the video off if they haven't already. Let me go ahead and dry the surface. Again, I've got a tremendous amount of water on this panel because it's flat from all the residue left over from the cleaner. But as I remove that water, the paint is still incredibly slick. The shining gloss on the paint is still there. That will remain even after 6 or 7 extreme battles. Wow, the paint's slick. The paint's very slick. There's something still here. Get all that residue off, get all that water off there. Okay, let's hit it with water and let's see what happens. Come on, Scotty, what do we got? There is its sheeting capabilities. 95% dry, 96% dry, 97% dry, 98% dry. Let me change the flooding of the panel. Put water on top of the panel and you'll see that it wants to push it off. That is the true power of silica. That's a product that's got silica in it. It's not going to fool you like silicone-based products that bead and bead and bead and you think it's actually doing something. I don't want water beads on the car just in case I have to wash in direct sunlight. I'd rather have less water on the panel. I don't want to chase water spots later. Now what's very interesting is the more I keep rinsing off this panel, you got to remember I'm using tap water. It's not DI water. There's going to be residue from the high TDS levels in my water as well. But the water right now, here watch, I'll flood the panel. When I flood the panel, it still wants to repel the water like a true silica product. But you'll notice it's kind of decreased a little bit, right? Not as quick as it was because high TDS levels in water, when you're not using a DI machine or you're not using, you know, an RO machine or a CR spotless, let's just remove some of the minerals that might still be on the paint. And I'll prove a point to you that even water during these tests, if you keep rinsing it and rinsing it, you'll leave high levels of, you know, minerals and deposits on the paint, which will change the water behavior of the sealant below. But let me go ahead and get that residue off from the tap water. Did you guys know